So I want to first of all welcome everybody to the Bronxville Women's Club. For those of you who are not familiar, it was founded nearly 100 years ago. We're moving into hopefully in the next 4 years, we'll hit the century mark. It was founded by some very enterprising women who wanted to continue the work that got started when they organized to get the vote. And these were really enterprising women who were they were forward-thinking women. And today we have a wonderful group that continue to be forward-thinking. And in the past, as we're doing now, the members get to create content. And that makes this really special because it allows us to present things that meet our ideas, needs, and in terms of education, but also an opportunity to showcase what our members are doing. And so I am really excited today to interview Liz Muller. Liz is an actor, a singer, a songwriter, a musical producer, and an entrepreneur. She runs a business. And so the way we plan this and what we really would like you to be able to take away are three things. One, we'd like you to pull the curtain back on what goes into creating a musical. And it doesn't really matter if it's, pre-COVID or as a result of COVID. There's a whole process to this, and it's very much like a startup. So, and that gets us to the second thing. We want to talk about the business of entrepreneurship and just business in general. To stay alive, you have to keep innovating. You have to keep coming up with new ideas. And interestingly enough, the pandemic forced everybody to rethink business models as well as operations. And so I find it, as an entrepreneur myself, very interesting to take a look at the business of creativity and see what we can learn from that, which gets us to the third thing that we would like you to take away, is that this is all about communications. And so what Liz has done is sort of very interesting. She started off in a medium, in shows where it was you showed up at a theater, it was dark, it was just you, it was very passive, but you had an experience. And then she iterated and created deep immersive theater where you became part of the play or the show. And now, since she couldn't do that in this three-dimensional real world, how do you translate that into a virtual world and create an immersive experience? So for point 3, we'd like you to view this and start to think about, as you're trying to communicate, whether it's with people on Zoom, whether it's your family or it's business or whatever it is, we are hoping that you'll get some new ideas about how to engage and communicate in a different way. So with that, with no further ado, Liz, I want to start to introduce you. And I had the pleasure of interviewing Liz. And one of the things that sort of got my attention about you and your background is, you started off as an actor, a singer, but you were doing this young. So what kind of hooked you? What made you decide, or when did you realize this was going to be your life?
I think every performer has that moment when they're really, really young and someone throws them up on a stage and they realize, oh, I'm going to do this forever. For me, I was 10. I played Dorothy and the Wizard of Oz in a school production. I still swear I got it because I had the longest hair in the class. But I mean, that was it. You're hooked after that. And I was really lucky because I went to public school. I had incredible teachers. My parents are the coolest. Like, everybody allowed me to do music and do theater as much as possible. So I was really fortunate to have teachers that supported that, let me fail, let me try anything I wanted to, let me conduct a band at 16 years old. I'm very, very lucky in that respect. And I think that really led to me being what I am today,
So the other thing that I thought was really interesting is you actually directed your first musical when you were 20. How did that happen? How did you get coached or trained? Tell us about that.
I didn't. um, it was definitely a baptism by fire. I was cast in a production of Oklahoma. I was playing Ado Annie, cute as a button. And for whatever reason, I can't remember because it's like 2 decades ago, our music director left. We no longer had a music director. And we were like close to showtime. I would say a week out, maybe 10 days out from show. And they were looking for an MD. And I was like, I could do this. And they were like, no, Liz, you're in the show. Just be in the show. And I was like, all right. So a couple days go by. We still don't have an MD. And I was like, I can do this. I think I can do this. I'll do this, you guys. If you need an MD, I'll do it. And they let me. I don't know what they were thinking, but they let me music direct the show with like no experience. Oklahoma, like one of the largest shows that exists on earth. And they let me do it. And I was scared. I was not good. I'm certain of that. I definitely failed left and right, but kind of now there was no choice. I was the music director. So I just kept going and I taught this show. And I remember even actively like music directing while I was on stage during the show because we hired a band. There was definitely a pianist and I'd be like singing along and then like looking at people, you know, because I was like directing. It's just par for the course. But yeah, I had people that I guess just trusted me and I did it.
Well, so and that sort of leads me to the next thing that I wanted to talk about. So here you are working full-time for Norwegian Cruise Line.
Yeah.
Producing musicals all over the world. You're traveling.
Yeah.
Somehow or another, you decide to start a production company with your partner. And now you're in dry dock. There's no more work. And what made you decide you needed to try to do something new?
We kind of never stop creating things and working on things. And we're always looking for something new to try, something new to experiment with. And we were having dinner one night, Simon and I, like literally over a bowl of pasta. And he was like, we should do a musical podcast. And he's been saying this for years, like really for at least 2 years. He's like, I really want to do a musical podcast. I love radio shows. Let's just do it. And he said it this one night in September, again, probably for the 5th or 6th time. And I was like, all right, let's do it. Let's do it. Let's do Three Ghosts. And let's do it for Christmas, which was very literally 4 months from the day we were sitting there eating pasta. And then we just got to work and just did it.
So as an entrepreneur, I can tell you that is probably the most important thing ever. My father used to say, ideas are a dime a dozen, but if you really want to do something, you've got to take a step and you have to create a sense of urgency. And so I see a parallel. One day I just said, I'm doing this, I'm starting a company, a fintech company, called my mother and she said, you're an idiot.
Yeah, well.
Whoa. So I understand that experience of diving in and burning the boats. There's no going back.
This is the first, this is very much how Simon and I function too, because all of the musicals that we've ever written will have an idea and, I don't know, maybe we're literally always just talking over a bowl of pasta, but we're talking about how great the show's going to be and what it's going to look like. And then the next day this is years ago when we could obviously be in person with each other, but we would go out and rent a theater. We would put money down on a theater space and then we had no choice but to write a show. So maybe we were 12 months out from a due date. So we always had motivation because once you put money behind something, you kind of have to do it.
So what was the next step? Did you start to map out everything you needed and a timeline, or how do you operate? What is your style as a leader?
That's a yes and a no to a lot of that stuff. So I'm not really, I give myself hard deadlines. I make a calendar for certain. I'm not really good at nitty gritty details. I can kind of sit back and sort of see the end game before it happens. And I just know, oh yeah, we're going to get there. But I contacted the cast. I contacted 46 people and I said, this is what we're doing individually, mind you. I wrote them individual emails explaining what it was I needed from them, what it was we were doing, what our end goal was, what we were hoping for. And every person except one, and just because that person is so insanely busy, every person except one said yes, which is wild to me. Like, my heart is full. So I contacted the entire cast. I gave them deadlines. I said, hey, I need all your stuff by November 15th. I'm going to release on December 20th. Let's go. And that was kind of it. I would follow up with them, but I didn't nag them or micromanage. At least I don't think I did, guys. I hope not. But I just let them fly and do what they do best. And, you know, the product is pretty cool.
How did you know what they were capable of? And then what were the gaps that you had to overcome in working with each of them?
I definitely did not know what they were capable of, what I was capable of. And it's both sides of that spectrum, actually. Like, I didn't know what they were capable of in a wonderful way, like the stuff that they gave back to me. And I didn't know what they were capable of in the, oh, we have to learn some things too. But really, the stuff they gave back to me way outweighed what had to be learned. So it was really just a learn as you go, keep the lines of communication open the entire time, be super honest and transparent. I'd say, listen, if you set up your recording device and you're recording and you have no idea what you're doing, just message me and we'll walk it through together. Like, I never wanted anyone to feel like they were failing, or because nobody wants to sing when they feel like a failure. Like, that's the worst. You feel like your soul is being sucked out of your body. So I just wanted them to feel as comfortable as possible doing something none of us have ever done before on a scale that was really quite large. And I think that was the best way to deal with it, because what I got back was unbelievable and so unexpected. They were incredible. And now they have a skill set that they've been messaging me, oh my God, Liz, I just record all the time now. Like, I didn't even know my computer could do this. I'm singing, I got myself a microphone. I'm doing, like, they learned so much that now they're doing more. And I think that's even better, right?
So and that was sort of the other thing that came up. What, you know, and when you're directing and you're working with actors, how important was it that you had actually been on the other side of being, someone directed you? Was that critical to this process?
Yeah,
You have done it without having done that.
I remember I started, it was really after Oklahoma where I was like, oh, I'm supposed to be a director. I get it. Like, I just fell in love with it. I love performing. Don't get me wrong. Like, give me a microphone, I'll sing you a song. But I don't know. I like creating on the people. And I think what happened at a really young age is once I started directing and more frequently directing, I became a better performer too, because it's like, if you learn to teach something and you have to teach it, you inevitably will be able to do it better as well, because the way you think about it is different. So I think I became a better performer. And honestly, any performer, singer, dancer, choreographer, whatever, like, if you get to be on the other side, you have a totally new appreciation for both sides, truly, for both sides. So yeah, I do think getting to sit on both sides of the table, taking direction from someone and giving direction from someone, you learn your likes and your dislikes very quickly. And you learn what may work and what may not.
You also mentioned what I thought was really fascinating about your particular process was the cast came together in its entirety twice.
Yes.
So, and then they never knew what each other were doing. So
nope.
How did you, so you need to explain to us, how does that magic work?
Well, I mean, that is theater magic, and that is a secret that we theater folk keep inside our hearts and don't share with civilians. But I think the two times we came together were the only full cast reading, and that was day one of what was the process. September 18th, we had a full cast read through, and that they were all over the world, 6 continents, crazy time zones, like everybody was everywhere. And I did just like you did today. I admitted people into the room, and someone would come in and I would be like, oh, Johnny, this is everyone, this is Johnny. And most of these people don't know each other. One person in the cast only knew me, poor guy. And most of them will never meet each other in real life, which is that is what I mean by theater magic. So we came together and I said, listen, this is our first read through. We don't entirely know what to expect. Laugh at each other with respect. It's going to be fun. There's going to be technical issues. It's totally cool. We're not here to judge. We're here to do something. And we did. And you can see, because like, obviously now people are friends online. They do Facebook, they do Instagram. They are friends now. And I really believe they love each other and they talk to each other. They'll never meet each other, most likely. And I think that's incredible. So fast forward 4 months to our release date. And that was December 19th. So almost four months to the day, we had our second and final full cast. And that was like a cast party, a postmortem, if you will, right? And we listened to all of Three Ghosts. So I thought, this is going to be so strange, right? We're going to have 40 people just sitting on a Zoom with headphones on like this for 2 hours. Like, that's bizarre, right? And I stopped after act 1 and I was like, okay, everybody like ready to move on to act 2. And the chat on the side just was like blowing up. They were like, no, we need to stop. We need to talk to each other. We need to like look at all of this. And they were like, you were so great at that. That sounded amazing. I had no idea this is what this show was going to sound like. I can't believe we all did this. It was just like chatter, chatter, chatter. And that felt so good. Like, and hearing from them, like, I can't believe we did this was like, the best in the world. So
this is a perfect moment. I want you to explain to people how many tapes that you've got. Can you let us listen to a few of these?
Yeah.
And then talk about this process of what I like to call in my business, it's the messy middle or the crisis of confidence. And we'll talk about how you got through it, but can you show people what did this actually look like?
So what I'm going to share with you, it'll be an audio. You'll hear a few audio things. So what everybody did was they would send me recorded files. Like, sometimes you just do a voice message on your phone or like you text someone a voice memo. So think of that, but like high tech, right? So they would send me voice recordings in snippets, because what I asked for, especially with dialogue, I was like, do your dialogue, do like a line 2, 3, 4 times in a row, leave me a little space, do the next line. And the reason for that was it gave me options to pull from to be able to cut together a show. So I'm going to show you like an evolution of a scene, like what it sounds like from what I got from a performer to then what I'm going to call the first cut, the first edit, which is me putting it together as a conversation. And then the final cut, the final edit, which is when Simon would take it, re-edit it for tempo, for timing, for underscoring, orchestration, 3D sound. If you have headphones, the 3D sound is very, very cool. And so you can hear a final product. This will be a couple of minutes. I'm going to stop in between so that I can put the next file up, but you'll see, you'll hear the evolution like really fast, people. The other thing I think is funny is I chose a scene that had some of the best recording in terms of quality, content, and professionalism. And that's a scene with Scrooge, with Noel Reyes, who is Scrooge, who's amazing. And in this same scene are children, which every actor knows that is like the worst thing to have on stage with you as a child, because you could be juggling fire watermelons and like it doesn't matter, the child is going to win every time. So what you're going to hear is like parents maybe helping the kids along with some of their lines. You'll hear mess ups. You'll hear all that kind of stuff. And it's really kind of exciting. So let's see. I hope this works. We've tried this a few times. I don't always win. Mr. Marley's old mansion.
Mr. Marley's old mansion.
Good. Mr. Marley's old mansion.
Mr. Marley's old mansion.
We can take shelter in there.
We could take shelter in there.
What are you doing here? What are you doing here? What are you doing here?
We haven't a place to stay. We haven't a place to stay. We haven't a place to stay.
I fail to see my involvement. I fail to see my involvement. I fail to see my involvement.
Is it haunted?
Okay, let's try it one more time and try it like this. Is it haunted?
Is it haunted?
That kind of gives you an idea of what I would hear Now, times that by 46 people in 2 hours of show, right? So then I sit down. Oh, and P.S., that little clip, I obviously also had to edit together so you could hear it, because it would be crazy if you were in my library hearing those things. So here's a second cut. This would be the first time through where I now take it and make it a conversation.
What is this place? Mr. Molly's old mansion. We could take shelter in there. No one lives here anymore? I've never seen a light in any window. It looks scary. There's nothing to be scared of.
What are you doing here?
Nothing, sir.
Only?
We're very cold. We haven't a place to stay.
I fail to see my involvement.
You can hear already there's a conversation. It sounds a little more human, but even still, it's rough. Like, she's rough and not ready for like audience ears yet. Now, this would be a final cut. This is a longer scene, but I think it's worthwhile hearing it because it's exciting with all the extras in it.
What is this place? Mr. Molly's old mansion. We could take shelter in there. No one lives here anymore? I've never seen a light in any window. It looks scary. There's nothing to be scared of.
What are you doing here?
Nothing, sir. Only.
Only?
We're very cold. We haven't a place to stay.
I fail to see my involvement.
Can you let us in? Just for the night.
You intend to brave the night in the house of Jacob Marley.
You know this place?
I live here.
Is it haunted?
It is indeed.
Not really.
It is, I tell you. I haven't slept in weeks.
He's telling the truth. Look at him. What kind of haunting? Creaks in the floor?
At night, just after the sun goes down, right around this time, the hauntings start.
So that's kind of the evolution of a scene, which is kind of exciting for me to hear again after so many months. And if it's okay with you, I'm going to just give you a little snippet of a song, because not only do we have to do that with dialogue and scene work, but we also have to do that with every song in the musical. And some of them are solos and duets, but some of them have a full cast. So everybody sings a song and sends it to me, and I have to line up everybody. And maybe you get something like this.
You may not get second chances. Chances are your chance. He's now arm in arm at any cost, but every now and then roads may twist and paths may cross. So hold on while you can. Arm in arm at any cost, but every now and then roads may twist and paths may cross. So hold on while you can. Think of all the days you had such fun, and think of all the nights you made such love, and think of all the things that haven't yet quite begun to be said. Yes, it shall last with love and hope, 'cause alas, every moment goes by so fast. And then the moments pass.
So just to kind of give an idea of what we did, something Ellen and friends here that I always forget to mention, and I think it's pretty crazy, but we rewrote this show starting in September. And so a song like you just heard there didn't exist probably before the beginning of November. So most of the music that's in the show was rethought, reorchestrated, rearranged, re-lyricized, or just cut entirely and rewritten as a new piece of music. So that was another thing we added into our timeline of actionable items. Yeah, thanks you guys for listening. That really, I can't stop smiling. I'm so proud of them.
Well, that gets to the next piece of this, which I think is one of the hardest things for most entrepreneurs, is when to ship. When do you say, this is good? And it's not that it's good enough, it is good to go.
Oh, I love
Even
that.
though you want to I could tweak. So how do you do that? How do you let yourself say, I'm putting this out in the world?
It's really hard. And every artist will tell you that is so hard because it's got to be like sending your kid away on the first day of school, right? It has to feel similar to that, not minimizing moms. You guys are great. But it's scary. It's so scary because will it fail? Will people like it? Will it be good? And I love that you say it's good, not good enough. Nothing in an artist's eyes is ever going to be perfect. If we had till the end of time to tweak and pull and tug at something we made, we would. But there does come a point where then you're like, but why did I make it if not to share it with people? So you just have to trust that it's good and let it go. And sometimes you're wrong, and that's okay. So fail and fail big and learn from what you failed at and do better next time.
So, I forgot to ask you, I kind of skipped a step here. So you have all of these bits,
Yeah.
and you're pulling this together. And I don't know, I called it when I was working on product development for my company, it was a mess. I mean, we were writing code, this thing was crashing, we had clients calling, screaming, and all of this stuff. So I remember feeling like, what ever possessed me to think I could do this? But then I had my way of going through. What was yours? How did you get through that horrifying moment? It's not a moment. It's a long period of time.
I seriously just like determination and chocolate, it never goes away. Every step you take, you're like, was that the right step? Should I have gone to the left? Oh God, why am I doing this? But also along the way, there's never a choice. I never feel like I don't know what else, this is what I do. Like, it's not a choice. It's what I am. And I think the people that I get to work with, they would say the same thing. There is no choice. Like if someone says, you're going to sing this, you're like, obviously this is what I am, So it's just knowing you can feel it in your gut when you're walking the right way, even if every step you take is, through big puddles of mud. So you're muddy at the end. Great job. You worked at it.
I think we need to start a new company. We're going to have a t-shirt. How to get through everything, determination and chocolate.
Don't take that,
I
people.
think
If you do, we get 2 points royalties.
There you go. Yes. So and that gets me to my last question before I open it up to everybody. And we've kept, Liz, we're right on track. It's almost 30 minutes.
Who knew? I'm so proud of us.
We held to it. So as a businesswoman, I always think about, the business model, revenue. So what did you sort of think, how did you think about this as a revenue maker, or what was the purpose of this? And from this, what other paths has this sparked for you to go down? So it's a two-part question.
I love it. I'm going to say, this is really funny because I can see us next to each other in my view. And I'm clearly an artist and a bohemian, and you are clearly a business person. I'm looking at the array of crazy behind me. And it's the same thing for this podcast. Simon and I did not approach this from a let's make money point of view. There was never a point where we were like, how are we going to generate revenue? How are we going to make money from this? Our focus was making the art and telling the story. And I know from a business model, that's the worst thing someone can hear is you're not going to generate revenue. But what we have now is a product. We have a podcast. We have the capability to show a theater producer, hey, listen to this. This sounds amazing. Do it on your stage. So it's become a source of advertising too. Plus it's a great way to reach the masses because it's a podcast. Anybody can go listen to it at any point in time. And we're not done. There's more coming. So everything we create, you'll get to listen to on our Pipe Dream podcast. I think because we were honest with the fact that we knew we weren't going to make money. Now, this is not to say we didn't pay our performers. We did. I'm fully aware I did not pay them nearly as much as they deserve or they are worth. They certainly could not go on any Caribbean vacation with the money I paid them, but we did pay them because that's their job and they should be paid. But we took no money. We didn't expect to make money. But now we have this great vessel, this great medium, and this great capability of sharing it with the world. And the feedback that I've gotten from people, whether they be cast or friends and family or complete strangers, is I can see this on stage. I can see every moment. I can hear every footstep. This needs to be in a theater. And that's exciting because it gives me motivation to keep pushing it out there in the world.
So if everybody would unmute yourselves, and if you've got some questions, I saw in the chat, Izora, you had a question. Did you want to put that up there?
Yeah, so I just had a question. You make mention of Simon and being your partner, but what was his role in this production? Like, what is his?
So C.E. Simon is my partner in music and crime and life. He is the most talented person. He wrote the book and composed the music. He did the orchestration. He also did all of the sound design for the 3D sound that you hear. Every graphic, every video, everything that you see that kind of didn't involve actually talking to other humans, he did. I do all the actual talking to other human stuff.
That's great. Thank you.
Tomorrow, we're going to send out an email with links. And I know Liz wants to invite all of you to send your ideas and get connected.
Yeah,
You're now part of our community.
So there's another question in the chat box. I just want to throw it out there. Just watch the chat box.
Is it this 3D sound question from Jacqueline?
Yes.
So, this is a great question. I love this so much. So I'm also the co-creator of another company called Half World, and my partner John and I in that company are completely inspired by immersive theater. Like anything immersive that we can jump into, we're in it like up to our necks. And we spent a few years like seeking out immersive sound theater for fun, for knowledge, for learning, for togetherness, and we fell in love with it. And then in doing that, so C.E. Simon was really a huge part of some of the product that Half World has created. We decided to take everything that we learned from doing Half World productions and apply it to Three Ghosts and hopefully our musicals and plays in the future. But I think you're right, this added layer of immersive sound, when you guys go back and listen on your own and you've got headphones on, I swear to you, sometimes you're like, whoa, like there's definitely a person walking behind me. And that really feels good. It makes it so alive and it's exciting. Even I do. I'll put my headphones on my couch, still listening to Three Ghosts. I'm like, this just feels so great. Go on a walk when it snows, the best.
Some more questions.
Yeah, what's a burning effort coming up next?
Mary is at some crazy Sting concert right now. I love your sound. What's coming up next? So I can't give too much away because Simon and I are pretty superstitious about saying specific things in the world because then, we'll feel like we'll fail. So to tell you some smaller things, we definitely have a project that will release in the spring. And it'll be exciting and super different. For anyone that knows the two of us or knows Pipe Dream, it may even be a little shocking, which I love. And it'll be a podcast. So that's exciting. I have a couple of what I now call land projects that I work on, meaning not in a digital medium it's horrible. This year has been horrible for everybody, but my word, has it made us think, right? Like I think I have more thoughts than I've ever had in my entire life this past year. So it's given us time to also create stuff that maybe if we were working full time, please soon, we wouldn't have been able to. So I've got 2 land projects that hopefully will have some life to them by the end of the year. And, we just did a short film too called Forge, which we're pretty proud of. Check them out. Check out our Instagram. It's pretty great. But what I'll say to everyone is just keep making it. Just keep doing it. What you learn from what you accomplish and what you don't accomplish is huge.
Okay. Well, share it.
Mary, you're going to like it so much. I can't wait.
I look forward to it.
That's sort of, when we started this, that was sort of one of the things that I wanted people to take away is that the most important step is taking the first step and putting a stake in the ground that says, I'm committed to doing this and not backing off. And it may not come out the way you wanted. It may be better. It may be something you put out in the world and it doesn't resonate. But the most important thing is taking a step. It's being in action.
You're
And
so
every
right.
time you do, you get information and then you can course correct. And that's sort of the life of an entrepreneur and of a dynamic business owner, because they're always stretching. They're always trying to create value for an audience, whether that's a customer, client, whether it's for a show. I mean, this doctors who continue to say, I have a problem, I need to solve this. How can I apply technology, or how do I work with researchers? It's this constant drive to move forward. And I think, Liz, when you say that you have to do this, it's not a choice. I think that for many people, you need to figure out what is it you want to do and why do you want to do it? Because things do get tough, but if you are clear about why this is important for you personally, it'll drag you through.
Yep.
And it's a roller coaster ride. And there are days when it is this crisis of confidence, this wondering, why did I think I could do this? But you just need determination and chocolate.
Your why thing is really the truth and the best, because if at any point you do say, why am I doing this? And you don't have that answer, then why are you doing it? I mean, if why are you doing it is to make $1 million, that's a great answer. If why you are doing it is to touch the lives and hearts of people you love, that's a great answer. If why are you doing it is like, I'm not sure, because I don't like, if you feel any wishy-washiness, then reevaluate for certain. It's about the why. I love this question.
We have another question. Yes, did you see this one from Jacqueline?
So Jacqueline, do you think the pandemic has opened more doors to theater creatives in terms of finding new mediums to tell stories? And if so, what do you think that means for performers post-COVID? Oh my gosh, you guys.
Whoa.
Post-COVID, this globe is going to be on fire. Let me tell you, because at least every performer and artist I know is itching. They're itching. Even if, and everybody's had a hard year. For us, we live in a place right now where we don't know when we're going to get to do, or if we're going to get to do anything that we do ever again, And for people that are dancers, where their career as a dancer is much shorter than the career of a singer or the career of a pianist or the career of a teacher. There's a finite amount of time to create these things in their life. And so, like, especially a lot of dancers, they evolve through what they do as dancers, and same thing for singers and performers and everybody else. So I think that you're going to see, the world explode once we're allowed to get out there and sing and dance in the streets again, for certain. I mean, we've all witnessed these insane TikTok musicals and like these huge orchestras playing virtually. And, now they're opening up like Broadway on demand, and people are watching musicals they've never gotten to see before in their homes. So in some ways, that's amazing, because maybe somebody in a state that has like a touring company that comes through once a year got to see Hamilton, when it was on Disney Plus. Like, I think that there's a joke out there where it's like, if you just gave all the stage managers the right to clean up this pandemic, they'd have it done in a week, because we're scrappy people. The theater people are resourceful and insightful and fluid and flexible. And I do think we're going to find a lot of different kind of storytelling, a lot of new talent, how people connect with each other. I do. I think COVID is going to be great. And I think maybe people found out they were performers during COVID. Like, isn't there this sea shanty man who's amazing now on TikTok just got a record deal. Last week, this man did not think he was going to have a record deal, and now he has a record deal. So it did. Yes, please. We will. We will make a successful business. All of us. I love the chat. So yeah, I do think it'll change.
Is there any other questions?
So delightful, all your faces. Hi, human.
So do you want to cue some music as we all exit the theater?
I would love that more than anything. Guys, hit me up via email if you want. Check out the website. Obviously, listen to the podcast. I send all my love to you. Thank you for joining us today. This was amazing.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
Here's some awesome music.
Yes.
Everybody in. Come in now.